Great. Well, I'm excited about our two guests today. If you want to learn about how we can combat this compassion fatigue that's happening right now, how we can build resiliency, you're in the right place. I have two great guests on today, and I'm really happy and excited. We had some nice little banter and talk before, and so I think we're just going to continue it on. Let me go ahead and introduce my two guests. First of all, we have Dr. Reezena Malaska. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited to be here, Rollis.
I'm excited to have you. And we also have Mr. John Chappelear. Welcome.
Thank you, Rollis. It's good to be back.
Absolutely. Yeah. So both of you come at this from two different perspectives, but I think it's very valuable for our discussion today. So I'm glad that both of you were able to make it on today. And those who are watching, if you would let us know what part of the world you're coming in from, what country you're coming in from, what city, what state. I'm currently in Houston, Texas. Feel free and put in where you're from. We also love to hear your questions and your comments and what you'd like to kind of focus on more today. We're going to cover a number of subjects within that framework, whether it's healthcare workers, perhaps it's caregivers, perhaps it's those who are out in the communities, essential workers. So how can we somehow find ways to combat this problem? First of all, let's kind of identify the problem as you see it. And I'd like to start off with you, Dr. Malaska. As you look at the problem that we see today, what is it? Is this a real thing? Compassion fatigue.
It is. It is a real thing. Stress is unbelievable right now. We're dealing with the stress of our jobs, the economy. We're dealing with COVID-19. COVID-19 has disrupted, really derailed everything that we know. It is something that no one in their lifetime has ever seen. I don't think we were around when the Spanish flu was around, but this is unlike anything that anybody has ever seen. And if you think that you had problems pre-COVID, think about the problem, add COVID to that, and what are we dealing with? It's insurmountable. And it's happened so quickly and so intensely, and it is so devastating. We have half the people in the country that believe COVID is real, and we have a huge percentage. We have millions and millions who don't believe it's real and that it's fake. And so we also have those things to deal with.
Absolutely. And how about you, John?
I agree 100% with Dr. Z. The only thing I would say is I don't know that it's insurmountable, because we have to figure out some way to surmount it. So, but I do think it's going to be difficult. I mean, like the doctor said earlier, I mean, I've done a lot of work in hospitals around nursing and physician issues and stress and, long hours and long days with very little breaks. And as the doctor said, this was pre-COVID. Yeah. I mean, I haven't been in a hospital since the COVID lockdown. So I have a physician lives across the hall from me, and he just looks at me and shakes his head and says, it's not going to get any better anytime soon.
Wow.
So I can't even imagine what the level of stress is. And so you've got people whose lives, their work is life and death on a daily basis. You add to that poor communication, a weak level of training. Now, I don't mean medical training. I just mean, as the doctor and I were talking about earlier, is this human connection, human communication training, and behavioral training, right? Yes. Behavioral response training. Everybody is trained amazingly well to do their jobs, but not necessarily trained particularly well to get along with the other people who do the same job. So it's a matter of, can we do that? And right now, I don't even know if you could run a good train. I mean, Dr. Z's done a whole lot more training in the last year than I have, but I think you'd have a very hard time doing a good training program right now, even if it was virtual, to be able to get enough medical people on a Zoom call like this, where they would actually be able to take an hour away from their day and do that. I've done programs with emergency room people before that had to sort of have a 10-minute recycling. Every 10 minutes we'd start over again, because the emergency room people would come and go and come and go.
Oh,
so
wow.
You take that and multiply it times whatever COVID has done, and that's where we sit today. So I feel a tremendous amount of empathy for the people who are trying make it in this industry right now.
And just to make it clear to our Rollis and John and Joanna, just to make it clear to our audience, um, I am at the front lines. I am the COVID nurse. I am the COVID critical care nurse. I have taken care of COVID patients for 5 months straight. And let me tell you, it is devastating. It is horrendous what you feel. Not only have things changed, in terms of what we're dealing with. Families can't come in and visit. These patients are super sick. They're dying quickly. They're coding. In one shift, I'm a critical care nurse, so I work in a high intensity area. In one shift, we can have 10 codes on the unit. Think about that. 10 codes. In one shift, we can have 4 to 5 people die. And as quickly as they're dying, you're getting another one in. So it is high intensity, right? Thank God things have slowed down a little bit, right now. But basically, when I speak about what you're feeling and what we were dealing with pre-COVID, the lack of leadership support, leaders who say one thing and behind closed doors they say something else. I've
Right.
worked with those people as a travel nurse. I've worked with them as a travel critical care educator doing contracts, and the status quo is no longer acceptable, right? We have to face this. We are in a war. We're in the biggest fight of our lives to protect and save the public as well as our own lives. You think about wearing the PPEs on a 12 to 14-hour shifts. I have actually worked 15 and a half hours in a shift where my patients were so sick and you can't get away. You have to take care of your patient, but then you also have the responsibility of the documentation. Think about those PPEs. As nurses, we spend the most hours in the PPEs at the bedside. Okay, so you're breathing in your own CO2. Think about what that is doing to you, to your body, to you pathophysiologically.
The idea that, and I don't mean to interrupt Dr. Z certainly, but the idea that we need to be able to teach self-care a little bit so that people can Dr. Z and I were talking earlier about being empowered, and nurses have to feel empowered enough to be able to create some level of self-care. If they don't do that, you can't work a 15 and a half hour shift breathing in your own CO2 and expect to operate at a level of exceptional performance. It just isn't a realistic expectation. And of course, here in the US, you have a profit-driven medical system, so it makes it even more difficult. So I have tremendous amount of, I sit in awe of people who do what Dr. Z does.
So I put it this way: you have to take back control of yourself. I have to take control of me. It's the decision time. How are you going to protect yourselves? Well, first of all, when you're on an aircraft, you have to protect you first. When the oxygen masks come down, you put it over you, and then you take care of your children or whoever else is around you to help them with theirs. So as human beings, we will always worry. We will always have anxiety. It is part of our human makeup. We cannot worry about what's going to happen. We can only focus on what we can control ourselves. And what you can control is yourself. Okay. We know now when COVID first happened in the beginning of the year, there was a lot we didn't know. We know so much more now. We have, everything has been on fast forward, basically, right? We're now educating people by Zoom call. We're having conferences with people from around the world. I just put on my own conference with the ResearchGate on September 26th. And that conference was basically, the theme of the conference I came up with it. It was stress in COVID-19, how to stay focused, strong, grounded, and productive in this global crisis, right? It was incredible. Look, we've gone from January, February, not knowing what we were dealing with to all of a sudden we have 2 vaccines that have come out. That in itself is phenomenal. What we have to remember, as John, you were saying, and Rollis, we were talking earlier, is how do we take care of ourselves? What can we do? It all boils down to behavior. We have to change the behaviors from the top down to the bottom up. Behaviors have to change all around.
So I need to shine a light on something here. the folks who are watching this don't know this, but this shows a commitment level of. I'm just going to shine a light on Dr. Malaska. She just got through with 3 grueling 12-hour shifts, but because her staff needs her, her patients need her to come back, she's going to go in for a 4th shift to take care of folks. This is real, folks. This is what we're talking about. So I'm going to give you a round of applause. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you deserve that. And I don't know if you saw that. Did you see that on the screen? Because I wanted to put that on the screen where you could see it too, Dr. Malaska. Did you see that? If you didn't, I'm going to make sure you get it. But I put something on the screen where it was the folks clapping their hands. Let me
No,
change
I didn't.
No, I didn't see that. I didn't see that. How about
I
that?
didn't see that.
You can see me clapping my hands. I
Okay,
agree
well,
100%.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that right now because I just really, folks in the comments, if you can, shine a light on that for me, and just let's just thank her because
Oh, good.
you know sometimes what happens is we just let stuff go and we don't say anything. So this is a good day to say something.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. That's what I was trying to show you earlier.
All right.
So yeah, thank you for
I
that.
saw it.
Yeah, thank you for that. We appreciate you.
And and just to be clear, I'm doing what I love. I love being a nurse. I love doing what I do. I have the younger ones, they come up to me and they go, Dr. Z, or they go, Zena. A lot of people don't know my real title or what I do in real life, other than right now I'm, critical care travel nursing at the bedside for the last 14 months. How do you stay so energetic and so passionate about what you do? Because it's in my blood, it's in my being.
Right.
I've always, as a little girl, wanted to be a nurse. And what I'm doing is I'm finding, and I love writing, so I'm finding that I I put myself through education just to give the audience a little bit of a background. I started out as a diploma trained nurse from Oxford, England. I went to Oxford Brookes University, Oxford School of Nursing. And I'm in the United States because I was married to an Air Force military man, and we moved around a lot. So I raised my 3 children, always moving every 3 to 4 years, and somehow managed to seek higher level education. The RN, the BSN, the master's degree, and then the doctoral degree. Then I found out that my love for writing when I was in high school, I can marry my love for writing with nursing and put the 2 together, and why not influence others? So people see my energy, the young folks see, the young nurses. When I say young nurses, I mean the 20-something and 30-something year old, and they learn from it. They want to know what keeps me, what makes me so energetic. Yes, I'm going to go in tonight. I'm not going to go in looking miserable. No patient or peer wants a miserable nurse working with them.
Right. Yes.
Exactly.
Amen.
So it's the attitude, it's the behavior. We come back to the behavior again.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
behavior is the basis of the whole thing. I mean, Dr. Z and I were talking about that before. I mean, this is the same thing with me. I started out my career running companies. The first, after I got out of college and graduate school, the first 25 years, I was running businesses as a CEO, and then realized that I was enjoying the development of the people and the behavioral changes more than I was enjoying running the companies. So that's what I've been doing the last 20 years or so, has been working on changing behavior, changing cultures, getting people to be more empathetic. I just had a person send me a note the other day, said, well, you're in the love business. Well, and I had never really thought of it that way, but yeah, I mean, I think if I could get people in the book, in the Daily Six, I describe love as understanding the needs of others and treating those needs as important as if they were my own.
yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
And this, John, is where I'm going to segue in, because I'm going to come in from the nursing healthcare standpoint.
Sure.
We go back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? You look at the base of what Maslow said. Maslow said that you need 7 physiological things as the strong foundation before you can even get to the top, right?
Right.
And what are those? Their breathing, their food, their water, their sex, their sleep, there is homeostasis and excretion. If you really take that and break it down, it is who we are as human beings.
Right.
So this is going to lead me on to, what are the strategies for self-care? We are in
Well, this is,
survival mode right
you
now,
know,
those strategies. You have to
right.
explore you. Okay. Who are you? It is crucial to your mental and your physical well-being to sit down and say, okay, what is my limits? What are my
Right.
stress symptoms?
Right. Right. What
Do,
are the
do
triggers? What are the triggers that I need to pay attention to so that
correct.
I realize it's time to step back a little bit. I
Right.
just finished writing an article called Moving Down the Pyramid, which has
Right.
to do with Maslow's hierarchy of need, because, I enjoy the fact that it being in the love business is very nice, but we have to make sure that people are comfortable with survival and a sense of being able to feel safe before we can get them to get into any level of altruism. They'll be too busy being self-protective to think anything about other people.
Just
And with nursing, that's exactly the opposite of what you want. You want somebody who's always thinking about the needs of others. But that can't happen if you don't allow somebody to feel good about themselves, healthy about themselves before they have, like you said, with the mask. It's funny, I have that, I memorized that entire part of a airplane uh, recording just so I could use it to talk about making sure you're healthy first and then help other people next.
so
Right.
just really quick, you got two comments, Dr. Malaska, that were directed towards you. One was, "Great job, Dr. Malaska. Thanks for all you do." That's from Caroline Oyedeji. And also Laura Camus, she says, "We need more heroes like Dr. Malaska." So I just wanted
Oh
to,
gosh.
yeah.
I'm going to jump in right here and say, you know, I said something, I have an issue with heroes.
Okay.
And
All
here
right.
is why. Am I really a hero? You know, I can't save you, but I can try to help you. I'm not able to save you
Mm.
so you can go back to your family. And I had this, I had this happen the other day where I I had to hold this patient's hand while she
Mm,
passed on to the other side because her
mm,
family couldn't bear to be there while she was going. But yet after she was gone, I called them and I encouraged, her spouse to come in. And he came in and saw her, how peaceful she was. And I shared with him what the last hour of her life was like on earth while I was there, because she died early. She died at 8:05 p.m. And
Mm.
my shift started at 6:45 p.m. By the time I finished report, you're looking at 7:15. But I was right there with her once I recognized what was happening, because nobody deserves to die alone.
Mm.
So are we really heroes? I don't think so. When families are telling me, "Thank you so much, you're my hero," but yet still their loved one has passed away. It makes me feel horrible, because to me a hero is somebody, I don't know that. I just have issues with it.
Okay, we're going to come back to that. I'm glad you said that, but I have a question for John. But I want to come back to what you said because there's a lot behind that. And folks in the comments, I want you to respond to what she just said. Give me your thoughts on what Dr. Malaska just said. John, I want to ask you something having to do with the Daily Six. I want you to just quickly run down what's the ingredients, what's the recipe for this Daily Six that you're talking about, because I think that will help folks in our audience as well.
sure, absolutely. I mean, it was originally, I originally wrote it as a sort of a self-help plan for me, and it just kind of grew out from that. But it's just, what can we do on a daily basis without having to sign up for a gym or go somewhere else and take another half an hour or an hour of our day that we don't have? So most of the Daily Six is simply seeing the same life that we're currently living in a different way. Daily Six starts with willingness, the willingness to try new things, find new teachers, to learn new lessons. Quiet time, whether that be prayer, meditation, mindfulness, whatever it might be, use that as an opportunity to create a path for your day, because I've learned that if you follow a path that your mind and your heart set together, your life will follow that. Number three is love and forgiveness. And I see those as two sides of the same coin. We be loving, and then we can also be forgiving. And to me, I really can't be loving unless I'm forgiving, and I can't be forgiving unless I'm loving. Kind of works together like that. Um, and again, these don't require us to do anything but change the way in which we are perceiving the life that we're living on a daily basis. Next is service to others, being service focused. And the one thing I don't have to talk about when I'm working in hospitals is being service focused. The whole place is service focused. But it isn't, it again, it's self-focused. It's service-focused outward. It's not so service-focused inward. So the people are not doing self-care, they're doing patient care. And they have to be able to learn how to do both. After service is gratitude, being grateful for all things at all times. Just like the death that Dr. Z just witnessed, she was able to take that gift of devastation and turn it around into something that she could give to the husband, where he could see his wife in a peaceful way, and he could at least have some level of appreciation of his wife's transition.
Yes.
And then
yes.
finally, the last component is action, because nothing really changes unless you do something. I mean, we can read about it and plan it, and Doctor and I both write a lot of articles, and the articles are great, but the articles don't create change. It's reading the articles and then creating something with it. So the thing is, the first 5 are do something, learn something, and then number 6 is do something.
Yeah,
I like
and
that.
that mirrors what what I've been saying. First of all, I'll go back to the survival mode. Exploring recognizing your limits, your stress symptoms when you're tired, burnt out, depressed. Lack of sleep. As providers, this is one of the biggest things that nurses and doctors are dealing with. We have trouble sleeping because while we are in that survival mode at work, we're trying to save lives. And once again, I'm coming from an intense critical care background. Okay. So things are always heightened, right?
Yes.
We come home and then you're deflated. You come from that high and then all of a sudden you're down, and then the thoughts coming, and you start to think about what it means, what your night was like, you couldn't save someone that you wanted to, you tried to comfort the family over the phone, but it didn't work, and you can't sleep. I look at, and this is making me tear up, it's the human caring side of us. Sorry.
That's okay. No, we're all with you. We're all supporting. We're all supporting you.
You very quickly have to think about how you're going to deal with this every day. Every day I go in, I pray. These are my strategies. I pray. I listen to music on the way to work, and sometimes I'm dancing in the car on the way to on the short 10-minute drive to work. I don't care who sees me, because you know what? That is stimulating my happy centers. Okay. So you listen to music, go for a walk, fresh air, exercise, do something that makes you happy, right? Because the strategies is not a one size fits all. You have to find out who you are and what will make you better. What can you do you for you? Rest, sleep, read a book, dancing. Sometimes I'll break out dancing here. Sometimes I come home and I cry. I live alone. I'm divorced. I live alone, and I cry. And then if I'm around people, I'll go watch a movie that makes you cry, like a sad movie. And I get it out. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm crying because of the movie, whatever. But you have to take care of you. You have to take care of your mental, your physical well-being. Eat foods that's going to boost your immune system, and you have to think of us. We are the biopsychosocial beings, right? On the social side, I've done this, John. You're the love guy, and I had the happiness expert, Dr. Elia Gorgouris on my virtual conference on September 26th, and he talked about this. He said, connect with positive people and family, family and friends, and I've been doing that even before I met Dr. Elia. You don't want to be around negative people, because negative people will drag you down.
Yeah.
So you want to be around positive people. You want to watch things, feel good movies, or do things that's going to, keep that positivity going, and empathy, that human caring. What's going to feed your soul? Don't forget the spirituality of it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
If you are spiritual, prayers work. Listen, I pray in my own religion, and I pray in the Christian religion, because you know what? I'm covering all my bases, So
Right.
Respect that.
you just have to, yes, we can't connect. By the way, as nurses, we love to hug. We love to hug each other. And it's one of the things in the medical nursing community that we are having a hard time with. Those of us that are at work that we hug each other with our masks on because we all need that human touch, that human caring, you
I'm
know.
going to give you a virtual hug right here. Look at
Oh, that is so
Right.
sweet.
there.
But,
Yeah, we love that.
yeah.
No, you know, I want to come back to what you said earlier about hero. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a different perspective on it. I respect what you're saying, and I think that your humility is wonderful, and I don't want you to lose that. Please don't. But at the same time, at the same time, this is that person's moment to show you appreciation for what you've done for them or their family members. And it's like as if they're handing you a gift and they're saying, here. And you can say, no, 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 I don't want that. Or you could say, thank you. And it's just a way of you showing that love back that I receive your gift. Thank you. Because that's really what they're
Yeah,
doing in their mind
yeah,
is they're thanking you because even though it wasn't as impactful to you, it's a moment that they will never forget for the rest of their
right.
lives, that conversation.
Yeah.
You may have another
Well,
patient coming up next, but they're not going to forget it.
To
So I think
me,
in that sense, you are a
no
hero.
different than this is no different than the fireman running into the building when everybody else is running out. You're
yes.
in the hospital every day when everybody else would much prefer to not be walking in a hospital. So
Right.
you're putting yourself in harm's way for the good of other people. To me, that's pretty close to the definition of a hero, if it's not exactly the definition of a hero.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't mean to sound ungrateful. I love the accolades that we get. Some days we walk into work, and I worked at one hospital. I was there for about 9 weeks, and every Thursday, the police department and the fire department, they would all come around the hospital campus, and
Mm.
they would have their lights on, and they would blow their horn, and basically to thank us for
Right.
what
Yes.
we were doing.
Love that.
And one day I kept missing it because I was busy. Like I said, critical care. You got to patients need you. You got to be there.
Right.
You got to
Right.
be saving them. So one day I was able to break away and go to the window, and we were on the ninth floor, and I looked out and I just started crying because it meant so much.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
the communities, they've been sending food for us, when like earlier in the year when this all started, and that we are so grateful for that because we don't get to eat, we don't get to pee. I'm sorry,
Yes.
sometimes you
Yes.
go 8-10 hours and then you finally make it to the bathroom to pee, because you don't get to drink because you're running, you run off your feet. That's literally what we're dealing with in the critical care setting. Not to minimize what the rest of the hospital is doing either. But yeah, our communities, the response has been phenomenal, and it just makes us feel like, wow,
Yes. Yes.
who would know that food could mean so much.
Okay. Someone's commenting here. They said a hero can be defined as someone who is admired for courage and noble qualities. Nursing requires courage and noble qualities. So that's
Oh,
what
thank
Laura
you.
Camo said. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So we appreciate what you're doing. So
Thank you.
from an outsider's point of view, John, we know you're not a healthcare worker, but what are some? I want you to start, and then I want Dr. Malaska, to finish up on this point of what are some actionable items that you think can be done to help overcome what has become known to many of us as compassion fatigue.
What can be done? I'm sorry. What can be done to mitigate some of the current situation?
Yes, to
Is
help
that the
make it a little
question?
bit better.
I'm sorry. I don't know that there is a lot that we can do until we we make some serious changes in the way in which we train and in the way in which we encourage people to behave. We have to allow people to go more than 8 hours without using a bathroom, or having a drink, or breaking for something to eat, because just like and I think they still do it now, but they used to be very careful about making sure that airline pilots could only fly a flight, and then they had to take a break, and then they got on a flight and they flew back again. But they didn't fly from New York to London and back 2 or 3 times before they took a break. And this is the situation that we find ourselves in with healthcare right now. So what we need to do is teach the leadership, whether it be lead nurses or whether it be physicians, teach the leadership to appreciate the value of the of the people who are giving themselves on a daily basis to support the patients, and that is the frontline people, the frontline responders, and they have to be, in most cases, from what I've met all the time I've worked in healthcare overseas, is these people have to be dragged away from patients. It's not as if they will go and take a break if you just tell them to go take a break. You have to sort of force them into the corner and say, have a drink, go to the bathroom, have a sandwich, come back to work. But they need to be refreshed. Otherwise, it's simply, you know, a point of diminishing returns. They just get more tired and more tired, and then a 10-minute break isn't going to help them at all. So it's just really important that leadership learns to be more encouraging. One of the words that we used when I was talking to Dr. Z earlier is be more empathetic, because there's a whole different range of responsibilities when you're a supervisor than when you're a frontline responder. And so I think that we need that empathetic connection, which is what I talk about with that love and forgiveness and gratitude. Empathetic connection and a sense of inclusion. You know, we are in this together. It's not you guys are supposed to do this and you guys are supposed to do that.
Right.
It's a matter of together we will care for these people and we will make a difference.
Appreciate that.
And so piggybacking onto that, if I may,
Please.
you know, and I said this at a conference I spoke at recently, you know, COVID is now part of the narrative. How do we move forward? You know, we move forward by changing the competing priorities in healthcare, and with support from authentic, caring, compassionate leadership. You know, leadership that's committed to rebuilding the playing field, protecting and supporting their most valuable assets, humans, right? All healthcare workers, you know. And I wrote an article in April of 2018 on compassionate culture amongst healthcare staff and a healthy work environment. It's essential to improve patient experiences, safety, quality of care, and outcomes. Now, I wrote this article back in 2018. COVID wasn't even around then,
right.
You know. And I like what you said, John. It's not a one person. And here's something that I like to, you know, share with the audience. Remember, nursing is not a one man or a one woman show. It is a collaborative, interdisciplinary, intradisciplinary, multidisciplinary effort in providing the best possible, safe, authentic, high quality, patient-centered care in a therapeutic, healthy, team-oriented work environment, right? You take what you had before COVID, it's disrupted. That whole thing is disrupted. You have to start over, and you have to do things to protect your nurses and your healthcare workers. Because you know what? We're only 3 million of us. If we dwindle, our workforce dwindles, who's there to take care of the public?
Yes, absolutely.
The same with the doctors. When you think about how many million people we have in this country, we're barely 3 million nurses, you know? So we have to, and what you're doing, Rollis, is phenomenal. And what you're doing, John, you're shining the light on us where we need the help. We can do self-care. We're talking about resiliency, but you know, we have the people that are leading us, managing us, making decisions at the top. You know, they also need help. They may not have the training. They may not have had the support in how to be a leader, right?
Right.
So,
we were talking about this before, about teaching leadership to physicians. I mean, why would we expect a chairman of a department or a leadership in a physician's position to be an excellent leadership? They never had any leadership training. It's just like, why would you expect me to be able to diagnose somebody with COVID? I've never had any training to do that. But if the hospitals I've worked in, when you work with the leadership and you teach them, I have a short sort of MBA boot camp kind of thing. When you teach them this kind of stuff, they love it. They all of a sudden they know how to build consensus and encourage people together, rather than just sort of function from the sort of dictatorial surgical suite that they're used to doing. And all of a sudden, when people love the fact when they get a chance to work together successfully. And most people don't ever get a chance to understand what that feels like. If we can just help people feel more successful, especially at the leadership level, and they will in turn make the people at the front lines feel more successful too. But it is a feeling that so many of us lack, is what does success really feel like? Um, so, it's I don't want to dominate this talk, so just I'll step back, but it's really important. What the doctor's doing is really important.
Well, we have to bring the human caring back into caring for nurses, healthcare workers, doctors, respiratory therapists, CNAs, everybody, that the housekeeping people, the people that, that clean our rooms and all this other stuff. This is why I don't just say, my rhetoric is not just nurses and doctors anymore. It's healthcare workers, healthcare workers. Okay. So I, I, my theorist, and I do a lot of evidence-based practice, is Jean Watson. And Jean Watson's, she, came up with the human caring, 10 caritas for human caring, transpersonal caring. And I'll share a couple with you that I think is really relevant. Practicing human caring, it's a practice of loving kindness and equanimity. Okay. It's your authentic presence. What does that do? It's enabling deep belief of others, your patients, your colleagues, your family, your friends, cultivating one's own spiritual practice toward wholeness of mind, body, spirit, right? It's beyond the ego, right? This goes beyond being you being the caring, healing environment. If your own person is the caring, healing environment, you're going to attract people of the same mindset. They're going to look at you and they're going to see that. And then allowing for miracles, right? When you allow for miracles, you're giving that openness to the unexpected and the inexplicable life events. And this, my friends, I took it from Watson, 2008, page 34, Watson's Caring Caritas. And Rollis, you tell me when we have the final thoughts, because I do have a final thought I'd like to share.
Okay, will do. I thought you were going to read another quote there.
Oh, well, it's about teamwork again. It's teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work, and teamwork
I
is
love
a team
that.
sport.
I love that. That's something I say all the time.
We
I
talk
love
about
that.
that at work all the time. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yes.
Especially in COVID.
Yes.
It takes the team. It takes the team to take care of the COVID patients.
Absolutely.
And I took this off. I don't know who's coined it or who said it, but teamwork is a team sport, right?
Yes.
I love that. I don't know who said that, but I loved it.
Okay, so I'm gonna actually give you guys just kind of lighten it up a little bit. I'm gonna give you guys a couple of fun questions. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So my first fun question here is, this is a never have I ever question. Okay. So you have to tell me if you have or you've never, and then the folks in the comments, I want you to guess if Dr. Malaska has or has never. Okay. And I want you to do the same thing for John.
Okay.
Okay. Never have I ever been reprimanded by hotel security.
I'm supposed to determine that with Dr. Malaska?
No. The audience is gonna guess.
The audience is gonna do that.
The audience is gonna guess.
That's
Okay.
good. I don't want to get in any trouble.
They're gonna guess whether you've ever been reprimanded by hotel security. Okay. You're gonna say I have or I've never. Now, while they're figuring that out, because it's gonna take them a little bit, because they're on a little bit of a delay. While they're trying to figure that out, I'm gonna ask you a would you rather question. Okay. If you found that your entire floor at work was converted, with the exception of your cubicle, your area, your little nurse's station, and it's been converted into a daycare for children or a daycare for service animals, which one would you rather of the two?
Is that addressed to me?
Yes, it's both of you. You're gonna start, Malaska. Go ahead, Dr. Malaska. You start off with this. Which one would you rather?
You can get in trouble with that. No matter what you say, you're going to get in trouble with that answer.
I know. Well, I love animals, so I would say animals.
Okay. See, that's what we want to uncover. We want to see what we're going to learn something. So we just learned that you love animals. What's your favorite animal you love?
Cats. I'm a cat lady.
Ah, she's a cat lady. Do we have any cat ladies in the comments? If you're a cat lady, let us know in the comments. A cat person, not lady, cat person. Let us know in the comments. And they're guessing. Okay, so Patty says, I don't think either of them have. Okay, and here's a good comment from Ramon. Ramon says, care as the essence of nursing care, return to our model and fight against the hegemonic medical model. Sorry, that's above my pay grade. I don't understand that word. Hegemonic.
Hemorrhagic? No.
HEGEMONIC, medical model. He says, very true, the holistic version of the patient, but not to forget the family of the patients and the person who generates the human care that is the healthcare worker. And go back to the comments here. Joe says, I'm a dog person. My dream is to one day have a King Charles Cavalier. Oh, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know what that was. Okay.
My daughter has 3 of those.
Oh, yeah? Awesome. Yep. Okay. See, I learned something about you, John. That's what I love about these questions. Okay. So let's start off with you, John. You have or you've never been reprimanded by hotel security?
Oh, that's a question that I have to answer?
Yes, I have or I've never.
While we're on the air? Okay. I would think probably not in the last 20 years, but certainly in the first 20 years. Oh yeah, probably a number of times. Yes, between the ages of getting right out of college until I was about 40. Yeah, okay. I would say there have been a number of times that's happened.
Okay, so we know John's a fun guy here. Huh?
Okay,
so Dr. Malaska, how about you?
Not anymore.
Yes. When I was a nursing student in Oxford, England, we got up to a lot of shenanigans. Oh yes.
In Oxford, England.
Mellowed into our wiser years.
Oh my Lord! When I think back to the things I did as a nursing student in England, you don't want to know.
That'd be for a different show.
If life was fair, I would be dead.
No wow! So we have Laura, who commented earlier. She says, "I have 3 cats." So she's aligned with you, Dr. Malaska. Patty says daycare for service animals. She'll take the service animals as well, which is what you chose. Now, John, did you choose? I don't remember what you said. Did you say?
No, I didn't, but I would choose service animals too. And I've always been a dog person. Had a dog since I was 4 or 5 years old. And actually, I just had to have our dog moved out of here because he was dreaming and starting to go, yeah. I texted my wife and said, please come and get Buddy out of here, will you please? So, yeah, we've always had a dog or 2 around, sure.
Awesome. So, do we have any dog people in the comments? Those who like dogs. We're already asked about the cat folks.
I like dogs too, but my favorite animals is cat. We had dogs and cats. We had 2 dogs and 3 cats when I was married. Yeah.
Do you know if there's any research on if having a pet can help with resilience?
Yes,
is there any studies?
There is a lot of research. There is a lot of research on it. And I'm going to jump right in there. And personally speaking, my animals have helped me. I don't have them now because I'm travel nursing, but they've helped me tremendously. Animals have that 6th sense, dogs and cats, and they know when you're distressed and when you're upset, and they're, emotionally, they're there for you. And I'll let John jump in right here.
No, I was going to say, if you're looking for 3 of the daily 6, which is love, forgiveness, and gratitude, that is all animals exude, is love, forgiveness, and gratitude. There is no carrying a resentment from yesterday or even 15 minutes ago. Ooh, so yes. It's an unconditional level of love, and without any words or any contribution financially to the family or anything else, they manage to be the loving component of the family, and that's just because they simply give. They always are in a giving mode.
Yes. Okay, I have a question. I've asked other guests this on my show, and I want to ask you this question. If I gave you an opportunity in 2021 to have the most amazing experiences for the entire year, 2021. But I will tell you that on January 1st, 2022, you will have no recollection of the entire year. Now, granted, these are amazing experiences that you know you would enjoy, everything you want to do. Would you take that on? Would you do it, or would you say I'll pass? Tell me what you think, John.
Are you just throwing that out there, Rollis?
I'm throwing it out there. 2021.
I would definitely take it.
Okay.
And then try to do something altruistic. Like, wouldn't it be great if we could have the greatest year would be to have a solution to COVID? I'd be happy to wake up January 2022 and have it not remember anything but COVID be gone.
Oh, look at
I would be
you.
happy with
Okay. All right.
So,
I like that. What about you, Dr. Malaska? What would you do? Would you take it on, or would you say I'll pass?
I would take it on, and once again, I would not just COVID, but I would do something like, try to get everyone health care and do something about, the disparities population, and so everyone has the same equal, access to health care and medical care. Because when you don't have access to health care and medical care, you're not just hurting you're hurting your community, you're hurting you're hurting everyone. And this is a mindset that we have got to get out of. When our community is successful, when our populations are successful, then we will be successful.
Yes.
And we shouldn't be, this disparities thing. It's just, and being a person of color as well, I know, so yeah, I would take it, but that's what I would do with it,
Okay, now I have a follow-up question to this, and this can help us for future, maybe a future clip, whenever I talk with audiences about the diversity topic. Talk to me about how important is it to have, and not just nurses, we're talking about the whole thing across the board. How important is it to have a diverse staff when caring for patients? Can we track it to patient outcomes? And then John, you can piggyback on whatever Dr. Malaska says, but I want you to start with that, Dr. Malaska.
Yes, diversity and inclusion is absolutely important. Culture, when we talk about culture, we're not talking about my culture and your culture. We're talking about everybody. Right. We're talking about the culture. We're talking about the diversity, the cultures of the diversity, the cultures of the work environment. God made us all different because different is good. Different works together for the common goal. We all want love. We all want good health. We all want to be successful. We all want to be able to be doing well. Name a human being that doesn't want that.
I use that as there's a line in my keynotes that says, everybody would rather hit a home run than strike out. Everyone would rather, catch a 10-foot long sailfish than catch nothing. Everybody would rather be successful than not be successful. Why would we think that there would be people who would have such a different level of desire? Everybody wants to take care of their families, take care of their loved ones. And so what we should be trying to figure out is how can we facilitate that? Because, a healthy and happy environment and population makes for a healthy, happy, and harmonious country.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's very good.
And let me tell you, I will go out on a limb, and yes, Rollis, I really hope that you will have me on again so we can talk about this. I have faced and I have experienced extreme bullying, incivility, lateral violence in this country, racial bias. Let me put this question out there. Why do you think I'm back at the bedside? They can't take that away from me. They can't.
You have control over that.
But you know what?
Oh, you definitely coming back.
They did me a huge favor, because what I do is when I'm given lemons, I don't just make lemonade. I make Long Island iced tea.
Makes lemontini.
Okay. You know what? I got to give you something for that one. You're still on top. You're still on top with us, Dr. Malaska. We appreciate that.
So by being a travel nurse, you see organizations, you see what they're doing and not doing. You know that heck no, you don't want to be a part of that system. You meet people, so many different people. People appreciate you as a travel nurse. They're happy to see you for the most part. you know
I love that.
so yeah.
Okay, so John, you want to add something to that?
Oh, I was just the thing that we need to start creating organizations that attract people by um, the way in which they treat their people rather than how big their advertising budget is. Um, and it's really important to make sure, because people join organizations, but they quit because of bosses. So when I'm able to work with a middle level or upper level leadership program, we always are able to reduce absenteeism and turnover, just because there's these people just don't have an understanding of what the value of empathetic connection is really all about. So, they're just, again, learning whatever they learned in school and taking it to work. And empathy, how to take breaks during the day, how to sort of renew yourself, how to put your mask on first before you put masks on other people. How do you do that? That's not taught in any schools, and it really should be. And it really should.
That's an interesting thought. As simple as, how do you put on your mask, and what's the best way to wear a mask? And I've seen people wear a mask wrong. I'm just like, so we do need some training on that.
Our
Oh yes, I'm happy to do a video for you, Rollis.
Please. Okay, guys in the comments, do we want a video from Dr. Malaska showing us the proper way to put on a mask? My vote's yes.
And don't be wearing gloves when you go out. That is wrong. Gloves is not going to protect you.
Really?
Please. Hand washing or hand gel. And there is a proper way to hand washing as well, and to hand gel. You don't just put it on and do this. You have to do this and this and this, and this is how you do it.
Right. That's why they say 20 seconds. They don't say 5 seconds.
Right.
That's hard. I got to tell you, because if you're not trained to do that, if you're like me, you just grew up just going there, you put the soap on, you wash your hands, you do that maybe for about 5-10 seconds, and you go.
Right.
And I've been in some restrooms where I see people who literally just turn the faucet on, don't put any soap on their hands. And I'm just like, ugh.
Go. I love when I travel and I'm at the airport. That's when I do my people watch, and I'm like, oh Lord, I hope you're not on my plane.
No, you don't get on my plane. That's exactly right.
Exactly. Okay, we are basically at the end of our. But let me do this before I'm gonna give you guys both the opportunity to give us your final comments. I'm just gonna go through some of the comments here. Let's see. Patty says, my son moved out and took the dogs, but I still have a cat. I prefer dogs.
Get a dog.
Patty says she'll take the daycare for service animals. Dr. Stevenson, she guessed that none of you had been called on by hotel security. So I guess in the past 20 years, she's probably accurate, right? Dr. Stevenson said, dogs and horses are my favorite animals. Patty says, I like goats, but I've never had one. Ramon says,
like them or not.
What was that?
I said, then she probably doesn't really know if she likes.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Wait till she gets one.
Ramon says we must work and a lot in transculturality. The differences must end. We are all people. Yeah. He says fairness, compassion, and empathy, feelings of humanization. Laura Camos, she says build the people will build the business. John is spot on. And Laura says, yes, one we can share, please. So she wants that video, okay. Dr. Malaska. Please do that for us. And I really want to thank you guys for being on. Let's go with your final comments first, John, and then we'll go to Dr. Malaska.
My final comments is simply the idea of having a daily positive practice of self-care. If you practice a level of self-care on a daily basis, what that creates is a cycle of success, which continues on day after day and year after year.
I like that.
And if I may, I have 2 things to add to that.
Sure.
For your mental well-being, I would say reframe your definition of what resiliency means to you. It's about finding a sense of meaning for you in what you do every day, being able to build and strengthen your internal mental capacity. And you choose what you want to do, whether that's power yoga, meditative yoga, mindfulness exercises, as John talked about, music, meditation, resiliency training,
Yeah.
learning a new sport, and pets. We talked about pets, but my final thought is this. We have a choice in shaping our own destiny, and it requires the right behaviors, empowerment, motivation, and dreams. Don't forget about those dreams, persistence, perseverance, and patience to succeed.
Oh, love that. This is okay. This is you. But you guys, both of you guys deserve this right here. Thank you so much. This has been awesome. It's been a great day.
Thank
Both
you.
of you.
Dr. Z, it was good to work with you. We have a chance to talk again soon.
Yeah,
John, I would
absolutely.
love to connect with you so we can have some more conversations. I'll reach out to you on LinkedIn with a connection.
That would be great. I would look forward to that.
And
Yes.
we have both of you. We're going to have both of you guys tagged in on this. So would you like folks to connect with you as well who are watching today?
Yes, of course.
Okay,
I'm
great.
I'm on LinkedIn.
Awesome.
I'm on LinkedIn as well.
Yep.
And Facebook and Twitter and Instagram.
And Rollis,
Uh-huh.
what I didn't mention is I do mentor and coach nationally and internationally, and I do it as a give back. I don't charge, and I've coached and mentored students in Lebanon and Turkey and a few different places.
Wow.
I've also mentored and coached students and nurses across this country.
Thank you so much.
Feel free to reach out.
Yes, yes. So you hear that, audience. Feel free to reach out to both of them, actually. Both of them, they're on LinkedIn. We got them tagged in the discussion here. Let us know what resonated with you. What point did you really appreciate that either of them brought out? Let's give them our thanks and tag them in your comments. Hit the @ symbol, and then when you hit the @ symbol, you start typing in their name, and their name will eventually come up. And then you tag them whenever you're making your comments or questions. We love to get that feedback. Dr. Stevenson says, I totally agree, Dr. Malaska. Diversity and inclusion is necessary to enhance care as well as increase trust between patients and providers. So definitely thank you for your time. John, thank you for your time. Thanks for coming back. I appreciate you coming back today.
Great, Rollis. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and Dr.
Rollis,
Malaska,
this was
thank
a lot
you.
of fun. This was my first time with you. I really enjoyed it, and I love talking about my patients and their families. When I go to work and I take care of a patient, I not just take care of the patient, but the patients and their families, whoever they say their families are.
Well, this is what I feel like today. This is what we've done. We've even though it's virtual, we've done this. We've kind of connected. We feel even though we're far away, we're still having that level of connection, which I appreciate.
Yes, and thank you for all that you do to support us. And to your positivity. In putting on these shows. Like I said, I would love to come back. You know what my expertise are. I sent you some of my publications and things. So
yes, we look forward to having you. So let's say bye to everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Have a good day. Don't forget to breathe.
Exactly.
Right.
Don't get to breathe. Okay, let's do a quick pose for the editors whenever we do the thumbnails. Okay, it's like a happy pose. And if you want to do a crazy pose, we can do a crazy pose too. Okay. All right. I love it. Okay, great. All right, let me go ahead. I'm going to stop the broadcast once Joe gives me the go ahead that it's okay to close it up. But you guys were amazing today. I loved your energy, both of you. Thank you.
Rollis, this is how I am.
I see that. I love it.
Rollis, listen, I only